As companies seek cost-effective ways to achieve connectivity and communication, and the world as a whole seeks to expand the boundaries of space exploration, the need for reliable and inventive space technologies is burgeoning like never before. Rocket Lab is an international launch provider and manufacturer that meets these very needs. I'm Shveta Sunkar.
And my name is Kristen Han. Rocket Lab is an emerging leader in the aerospace and defense industry, providing end-to-end launch services, satellite components, and spacecraft design to the small satellite market. Founded in 2006, the company operates in two segments, these being launch services and space systems. Rocket Lab has already launched over 200 satellites by its small launch vehicle, Electron. From its first launch in 2017, it has already risen to being the second most frequently launched rocket in the United States. And currently, the company is taking the next leap for future spacecraft missions by pioneering its medium launch vehicle, Neutron. Furthermore, recognizing that launch is only one part of truly opening access to space, the company engages as a premier supplier of reliable space technology and has already delivered to support over 1,700 satellite missions.
We rate Rocket Lab as a buy with a target price of $25.94 for the following reasons. The first is its end-to-end business model. Rocket Lab manufactures satellites and space components while also launching and deploying satellites. This enables it to cut supply chain costs as it controls most aspects of the chain. Secondly, Rocket Lab has high growth potential due to its expansion into new markets and attraction of a wide consumer base. The company is currently investing heavily in expanding into the medium launch market with the development of its new partially reusable rocket Neutron, which will enable the company to carry larger loads and reach more customers. Lastly, Rocket Lab has laid out a clear and plausible path to deliver and achieve success. The company has enjoyed rapid success with its small launch rocket Electron and has continuously increased launch frequency and worked towards securing contracts and clientele. Let's look at the ways that Rocket Lab is growing. Firstly, Rocket Lab's development of its medium launch rocket Neutron will allow for its significant expansion, as the rocket will be able to carry larger payloads than its small launch counterpart Electron, and thus enable Rocket Lab to secure a wider array of customers and compete for market share. The company also expanded its offerings through the development of Flatellite, a stackable high-power satellite that could potentially open up a business in communications. Rocket Lab has also demonstrated the flexible nature of its satellite bus Photon by bringing satellites back to Earth for re-entry tests. Rocket Lab has also created opportunities for itself through the acquisition of the company Solero in late 2021, which is a key supplier of solar panels for satellites. The company also announced plans to acquire Mynaric, a German laser communications company, which would open pathways for Rocket Lab to build on its end-to-end business even further by offering communication systems between satellites.
Rocket Lab's stock has increased 330% since April 2024, just 12 months ago. The company has seen expedited growth, especially in the last 2 quarters. However, the recent dip in price per share reflects the current trend of falling stocks that the general market is reeling from, due to economic uncertainty and tariff concerns.
Rocket Lab does not face much competition in the niche market that is the small launch sector, yet it is soon to expand into the larger launch sector with the release of Neutron. Key competitors in the heavy launch industry include SpaceX, Boeing and Lockheed Martin, and Arianespace, though SpaceX stands out as the toughest competitor with the lowest cost per tonnage. However, when SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launches, it often doesn't carry a full payload, yet the company still charges full price, resulting in a higher actual cost per tonnage for each launch. This is interesting. Why? Well, Rocket Lab isn't exactly expanding into the heavy launch sector. It's creating a middle ground through the development of Neutron, which will carry medium payloads. As Falcon 9 rockets are partially loaded, they end up carrying roughly the same payload as Neutron will. However, SpaceX's actual cost per tonnage for a typical half-full rocket would be much higher, meaning that the actual cost per tonnage for roughly the same payload between Neutron and Falcon 9 is much lower when customers go to Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab also stands out amongst its competitors by providing a dedicated and tailored launch service in comparison to SpaceX's rideshare program, which cannot offer tailored orbits or launch times to its customers. We use the Porter's Five Forces and SWOT analysis to determine Rocket Lab's competitive positioning, and we have come to the conclusion that Rocket Lab has a wide competitive moat. Firstly, Rocket Lab oversees the launching, deployment, and manufacturing of satellites, and this end-to-end model strengthens its advantage in both of its sectors, as the company provides all-in-one solutions for its customers while also mitigating supply chain costs. The company continues to expand into new markets as it develops its launch systems and satellite technologies, and ongoing government support also plays a key role in strengthening the company's advantage. Some of Rocket Lab's weaknesses and threats include high development costs, a currently niche market as Rocket Lab's launch services at this point cater to small satellite companies, a risk of launch failure as the company increases launch frequency and deploys new technologies, and potential regulatory challenges. However, high costs will pay off as the company puts in technologies and new Rocket Neutron into operation.
Let's take a look at revenue. In 2024, Rocket Lab made $436.2 million in revenue, 29% of which came from the launch services segment, which on the graph is in red, and the 71% from the space systems segment, which is in black. The space systems segment is the primary revenue source. Another main revenue driver are contracts made with the government. Rocket Lab was granted a $515 million contract from the Space Development Agency to manufacture 18 satellites. Rocket Lab's launch frequency is also a main revenue driver, as they charge around $8 million for each launch. And as the demand for medium launch services rises, the future Neutron will attract even more customers and therefore increase revenue growth to the company.
We valued Rocket Lab using a discounted cash flow analysis with a 10-year year-over-year projection and terminal value after that with a growth rate of 2.75%. We used analyst estimates for the next 5 years' cash flows and then used our own estimates after that, and we used a discount rate of 7.98%, which was arrived at using a levered beta of 2.07. Our target price came to $25.94, which represents a 42.9% upside from the stock's current price of $18.15.
Rocket Lab has 4 main investment risks. First, inabilities to operate successful launches, meet anticipated launch rates, or fulfill company contracts could pose a risk to potential failure and decrease confidence in the company. Secondly, Rocket Lab is heavily invested on the research and development of Neutron. However, Neutron's initial flight test has previously been delayed once, and though additional delays are extremely unlikely, future delays could lead to unexpected losses for the company, seeing as its profitability hinges on successful launches and its expansion into the medium launch sector. Additionally, competition and geopolitics could also hold a risk. Rocket Lab's presence through its global launch sites means that the company needs to manage regulations from multiple countries. Any inability to launch due to government action and regulation may hinder the company's revenue. Now, regarding Rocket Lab's environmental impacts, they have taken action to utilize SolAero's solar cell technology to harness sustainable energy for satellite development. They have already granted around $100,000 to encourage education in STEM. And for governance, 5 out of the 8 of the board of directors are independent, with the lead director, Merlin Saint-Hill, being female. The development and growth of artificial intelligence and its applications has opened up significant opportunities for Rocket Lab throughout its business. For example, many artificial intelligence-based companies rely on satellite imaging and data to conduct operations, such as the Black Sky Company, which utilizes AI-powered Earth imaging satellites deployed by Rocket Lab. Furthermore, Rocket Lab utilizes AI technology in its manufacturing sector, from automating satellite operations to optimizing component design and monitoring and detecting flaws in manufacturing.
Warren Buffett once said, "It is better to buy a great company at a fair price than a fair company at a great price." Rocket Lab is a great company at a great price with a strong and reliable foundation and wide customer base in a growing industry. Successful testing and implementation of its new Rocket Neutron and further development of its technologies will soon turn the business profitable and enable it to soar, reflecting a path to success that the company has already laid out.